Welcome everyone to the second interview by myself, Heidi O'Brien, with another wonderful instructional program instructor. And it's another yoga instructor because we have many, and her name is Kerri Boyd. We've been lucky to have Kerri Boyd here at McMaster for many years. She actually originally started in 1997. She graduated from McMaster with a degree in music and then went on to Teachers College. So hi Kerri and welcome today. And we're just going to get started with a few questions for you so you can fill us in. And again, we're really lucky to have you at McMaster, and I know you teach in the Pulse as well, which is fantastic. So first question, of course, how did you get started in yoga? You've got a diverse background, music and Teachers College. How did you get started in yoga?
Yeah. So I was young, and this is in the early 90s when yoga wasn't very mainstream. And I got a book, an old book from the 60s, and I just started opening it up. And I was an active person, but I wasn't into sports and that sort of competitive type of fitness. So having this yoga book and trying out these stretches, it was just, I hadn't felt anything like that. So I would say 17 or 18 at this point, where I was getting more and more interested in yoga and using that with like my biking and other activities. And I was finding how my body was responding so differently with breathing and holding these static stretches. So I was pretty fascinated. And then when I went on to my first schooling in Toronto, I was doing a lot more yoga and less academics. And that just gave me that push to travel and do my yoga training. And back then it wasn't easy to access again. So I traveled to the Bahamas and stayed at a yoga ashram for 6 months. And just prior to that, I had taken my first meditation course. So I got a really solid foundation in a meditation, mindful practice, and then the world of yoga. And then when I came back to Hamilton, I came to McMaster. And, from there on, I became a yoga instructor at Mac. I did some other teaching positions, but definitely I kept on coming back to McMaster because I just love the atmosphere and the students, and just knowing that when I was a student, how valuable yoga was for me in the practice, whether it was getting ready for performing on stage in nerves or exams, or just trying to find a balance in my life. Yoga was always there. So yeah, I was really lucky to get an early classical influence and then see over the last 25 years how yoga has just evolved in such a fascinating way. So.
Well, and I know that you're also very active in many other ways, so I'm sure it helps you. Can you tell us a little bit about how it's helped you in other areas of your active life?
Sure. Yes. So I love things like mountain biking and canoeing and paddling, and I change it up. So I had been, running for some years, and snowboarding, rollerblading, hiking. So yoga is, I think it's so complementary because it gives me that body awareness, so that when I am doing activities or, pumping weights in the Pulse, let's still do that. There's a yoga teacher afterwards, but I just have a different sensation before or after yoga practice when I'm doing all of these activities. It just lets me be more practical and mindful and find my balance, because I can feel when I'm pushing myself in a good way or if I'm pushing myself in an unhealthy way. So it really gives me that sense of being mindful. And, I've had injuries and, and as I age and notice that things, I'm also like, I can use the tools of yoga. Yoga is not going to protect me from injury and, or any other side effects, life and living. But it definitely is such a foundation and a tool that keeps me aware I think I mean, I'm sure it's helped me with my balance, physical balance. But I think, you know what, it also, yoga's helped me laugh at myself and,
Yeah.
overcome those adversities and injuries as well. I found yoga's been really helpful with that, taking out the competitive edge, but still maintaining, goal setting and stuff like that. So it's kept a really good balance for me, I think, in my my other activities in life. Yeah.
Well, and you've also taught at McMaster, as long as I've been there as a coordinator, all kinds of different types of yoga,
Yeah.
which a lot of people aren't even aware. It's just a basic yoga. Can you tell us about a few of the different kinds of classes that you have taught?
Yeah, so I started with very, very traditional classical poses that we would hold for 5 to 10 minutes. And as the years progressed with yoga and me teaching at McMaster, I realized that, there's many different types of yoga that students are asking for. So that led me into more flow and power yoga. We also had for a few years, we had a really fun partner yoga course. And then that led to a little partner yoga club. And that was really fun. It was before Instagram. So we didn't get a lot of photos out there, but we do have a good collection on some of these fun yoga poses that we did with partner yoga. Also for that need of stress release, we have restorative yoga.
I love that one.
Yeah, so wonderful. And restorative yoga is one of the slowest yogas, but I would say it's one of the most beneficial. But then again, like I use a variety of all of the types of yoga because sometimes I need to be more active and flowing because that's where my mood is or how my body is. And sometimes I just need to be grounded and move slowly. So knowing that there's a variety of styles of yoga, I think really helps people find what is either their step into yoga or, their path into the practice, because everyone can benefit from stretching, but it's getting the breath and being aware as you stretch that helps you in your outside world. Yeah. And that beautiful mesh of yoga, finding balance in your life, I think.
Excellent. Yes, I mean, yeah, I know these things, but I'm so glad you're telling people about them, because I really do think it's something we need to share, and especially, anytime, it's so great to have these options to us. If we're open to embracing them. And once you start, I feel like it's you just embrace it into your life, and then it really makes a difference. So
it does, yeah.
So tying into this probably, because I know you have a busy schedule, you're teaching and whatnot. What keeps you motivated to keep teaching as opposed to just participating, like watching someone else? What keeps you motivated to teach? And then are you able to share some of that with how you get your students motivated? Can you share a little bit of that? It's tough, but
I think I love it, and I see the value, and I want to share that. And I think that's what's kept me just loving the McMaster environment, because I can see the benefits. I can even watch through the course when I do the longer, like a 10-week course, how the students are way more relaxed in the first few weeks, and then you can they're probably during midterms now, because you can see the stress in their faces or their bodies, or it takes them a little bit longer to just settle and look and feel grounded. Mm-hmm. So that motivates me, that when I come and I show up and I'm there for the students, that I get to share something that I've experienced that benefits me. And I know that they are benefiting from it, from the way that they either just pass by and they're like, that was the exact thing I needed today, or I heard you mention something about being mindful or using my breath, or releasing tension. It can be the smallest detail, but those were also the teachers that were teaching me, giving me those gifts, and they may not have known what words they used or what poses they did that released something in me. And I just want to share that and pass that on. And I would say that is my number one motivation. but I've had to learn to balance work and life with a full-time job. And that was a couple years. When I first became a school teacher, I couldn't balance the yoga school teaching life. So there was a couple years I didn't teach at Mac, and then I came back when a couple years later when I had rebalanced my life, because I just miss being able to share the practice, because when I'm sharing, I'm also getting a different sensation. I may not be getting the same yoga physical practice, but being able to give relaxation and share that, and to know that you're getting a stronger, healthier body, and that all the students in the class are getting some benefit is what's kept me very motivated.
Yeah.
And the changing world of yoga. That when I was younger, I was a little bit more rigid in my classical training, and my way must be right. And I think it was a great way to start exploring different types of yoga for myself, to realize there's so much out there, because there's so many bodies, so many body types, mind and body types, that we all need different experiences. For when I had surgery on my wrist, I broke my wrist, and so I wasn't teaching for a few months. But that was my opportunity to go and try different styles of yoga as well. And I found the hot room, which isn't my typical go-to yoga style. The hot room really helped with my wrist and the healing as well. So I was able to receive what other teachers were doing, and being on the receiving end of a class was eye-opening as well. So I've just kept my mind open to the opportunities and to continue learning, because it's not about age. Yoga is ancient, so we can keep the flow of yoga going in the changing of times. I think that's what's really wonderful to share, that I will change with yoga, and as society changes too, and hopefully that will keep me motivated and inspire others.
Well, I know that we have often sent out evaluations in the past, and I know we've had glowing reviews come back about your teaching, so you're making a difference. And some of the participants have shared some really, really nice things, and how much they look forward to your class each week, and how it's their, the best part of their day or something. So we do know that yoga is helping, and that's a feel good thing too. And it's when you're helping others, and that whole mindfulness piece is so important as well. So so we don't have a lot more time. I just want to say thank you so much for everything you shared so far. Do you have like a favorite sort of yoga pose, or a favorite little thing you want to leave us with about yoga that you love about yoga? Or do you want to, I'm not sure how well you can demonstrate that, but if there's something you want to share with us that you want to leave us with today, especially for someone who might not know anything about yoga.
This is something that I would share with the students. So a lot of them don't know how to start at home. And I think an at-home practice is hard for a lot of people. It's easier for us to go to a class or to log into a class. But when I just put my mat out and just start with the most simplest pose, that is the start of the practice. And then the motivation comes right after, and that there's some backup in the brain about that. And it's just so important just to give your body some stretch and some time just to connect with your breath and your body every day in a very mindful way. And during what we've experienced with so much isolation at home, it has been even more important for me to remember to take a time just to do one little sun salutation or a flow, and just to feel how my body is today. Because day to day, I may go, oh, today my body is feeling so relaxed and open, and then other days I'm like stiff or tight. And then because I've had that connection earlier in the day and know that it will change, it's been so helpful to just like, you're feeling a little tight or tense today, or just go with the flow today. And it's just giving me that indication. There's so much neuroscience between your body and mind connection. And I think if you can just connect with that and ground yourself, and if it just, if it's just like hugging your knee into your chest and giving yourself a twist, I think that alone just gets some flowing going. So how much time do we have?
That's good. And I just want to, I know the breathing is crucial, and if you have no time to do anything else, I mean, I do this a lot. If I'm feeling things or I'm getting wound up or whatever, I think what the yoga mindfulness has taught me is just to slow down, stop, and take those breaths in slow, hold for a bit, release. It forces you to stop and calm yourself. And that's one of the things really important in yoga, is getting in touch with your breath, right? Which is
for me, I couldn't agree anymore about the breathing and connecting with that breath. It's amazing what 2 or 3 breaths can tell you about your state of mind and body.
Yeah, absolutely. So thank you so much, Kerri. I want you to have a wonderful day, and great to see your smiling face.
Thank you.
Seeing you in person again for too long. Okay.
I'm so grateful to share this. Thank you.
Thank you.